Hello and welcome back. This is ProTaleDev back with another Game Jam video, and we're still looking at Soul Link. This is the second day. Just going to have a quick look at what we've done for the whole of the second day. So the first thing you're going to notice is that the scenery is now different. You can see a lot of low polygon objects that have covered the scene, and immediately you should be able to see like different kind of assets. This is because I've decided to decorate it. It's the second day. I've gotten a lot of the coding done in the first day, and so I've moved on to making it a little bit nicer to look at. Very basic environment. There will be a link to the assets that I've used, so the different low polygon packs that I've used, so the low polygon dungeons lit, and a few others that I'll have a link in the description for. So yeah, I decided not to create any of the actual objects this time. I simply didn't want to spend too much time on this game jam in terms of the actual making objects. I wanted to kind of move into getting the coding done and taking it a little bit easy on this game jam. I'm just going to show you what we got so far. You'll notice some immediate code stuff has changed, so we can still link to our enemy, and we can still go to the pool of water over here, and when we activate it and go into it, you'll see these fire effects both on me and all the enemy. If we link again, you see that these different effects. So now, in the previous day, the damage wasn't working correctly, but on our health, and there was a few issues with some of the links and things like that, but I fixed that, and now it does work. We can also change link, like I said before. We can link to like our enemies. You'll see these particle effects, and after the timer runs out, if you're still in the water, you'll burn because it's flammable. The next thing is these traps. These traps are now working. You will take damage. It's very little damage, but you will need to use it to your advantage in order to get health back. So what you gotta do is you gotta link to a trap while you're taking damage, and you should get health back, which you can see. This needs a lot of practice, but when you're using this, you can also you do need to stand into the very trap that you're interacting with, and you do have to, essentially have to stay still. So it's a very risky, very difficult thing to do. It does automatically update, which is kind of nice. I think it's quite nice to be able to do that while it's still active, and then you can just run into it, try and heal up if you've gotten away from enemies. So the next thing I want to show is, obviously we have our crystal up here. So while I do think the damage for the traps maybe needs to be increased. So I'll sort that out in probably after this video. So the other thing is the crystal. So the crystal can be set on fire, but you can't see it, obviously because it's too far away. But you do have quite a lot of time still. You will set on fire once it's ended, and this is just another indicator that the link has ended. The next thing I want to show is the lighting. So as you can see, it's quite dark, trying to make it suit a little bit more of a dungeon feel, and we're going to have a lot more lights around. So at the moment, what we've got is the light from the fire effect and the light from these torches, and a little bit of a particle effect. So that's on here. I don't know if the light needs to be increased. I'll just probably have more, but we also have candle prefabs as well that we can bring in, which have light on them as well. The next thing I want to show is that it looks quite nice. It's got a little bit of a bloom effect. At the very top here, you got our material, which has got emission, and then when we have our link, we can also see the emission level of the light. So if I show it again, just on our enemy, you see that it's a little bit light and it's easy to see. That's because of the emission level. We do have our wave system in, but at the moment it's not working 100%. That's the next thing I'm going to be working on, is just a minor fix to that. Trying to get the waves working and lots of different crystals and enemy types in the game. So I had to redo the nav. So if I quickly click on this and then go to navigation. At the moment, these floors that you're seeing here, this actually came with one of the packs. This floor is actually doesn't have a physical. It's not a physical object, so if I just quickly turn it off, what I'm actually using the nav for is this. So at the moment, players and enemies actually can't get outside. There's no way out of these walls at the moment, so There's no reason they would actually be able to get out, but what we can do is I can quickly show that the navigation works perfectly. You can see the walls have been set up correctly, so enemies can go around, navigate around and chase us, and they can even go in the water as well. Next thing is that the water. So this was another thing I was actually having fun with. I usually don't use shaders very often, but I decided to have a go and try and make a water shader. I've got a little bit of experience with it, so it wasn't as bad as you would expect if I hadn't done them at all, but I have done some shaders in the past. Just don't enjoy them as much as the other stuff in Unity, but yeah, I made a shader, very simple, very straightforward. Again, I don't really like making shaders very much, but for the most part this is my shader. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I do that a lot and it ends up becoming just a long video. So yep, our shader was set up just for water, and you can just about see it when we press play. You can see a little bit of a glow from it, you can see the waves. I'll see if I can show this off a little bit better now. So you'll see there's like a little bit of a glow, there's a bit of shine to it, and if you can look close enough, it actually is moving. It's a bit hard to see, but it is actually moving. You see the waves a little bit. That's for the most part what I've done for the second day. It actually took longer than I thought because designing these areas took ages. I've also got a spike trap here as well, which is one of the ones I didn't show. I've also got a crystal here, which is just a custom made low poly object, which I made in a previous game jam. So that's most of everything for the second day. Again, I can show these prefabs. We just got the water, which it's a little bit easier to see the waves here, definitely. But you can see the waves here, which is a lot easier to see. Got a few adjustments to the enemies again. Got the health and a few other bits and pieces. If I just quickly go to, so you got our materials, and I made these custom normal maps as well, using our normal map generator that I've used in the past. So I've got some minor changes here. So this is the emission color changing in the code. There's basically things that are getting triggered using collisions, trigger boxes, and that's kind of how we're doing the damage. There is one other thing actually. You'll notice what I'm standing still at the moment, but the camera is actually swaying slightly. I think this gives the environment a slightly more interesting effect. So it's like everything is tilting slightly on an angle, very, very slightly, but I think it adds this really interesting effect. Yeah, so on my camera we got this animation, and it's just a slight sway, which just adds a little bit to the environment. That's been the second day. Again, more visual stuff. Next, in the third day, I'll be looking at probably making some enemy characters, or getting some enemy characters and some and a character for myself, the player, and I'll probably be refining some of the features in this. So some of the things like how the traps work and stuff. So this has been ProTaleDev, and I'll see you next time.